Welcome back to the Deliberate Exchange. I want to dive into something big, something that I know so many of you feel, but maybe you haven't fully stepped into it yet, because I know that I was there. It's the moment when you're standing on the edge of expansion. Like you feel that pull, you know that there's something waiting for you on the other side, but fear creeps in, doubt sets in. You start questioning whether you're actually ready or if you maybe just need to stay where it's safe. Now, I've been through this exact experience recently. And so I want to take you inside of my process because every time I come up against something big and I go through this process, it gets easier and I develop this self-trust. I want to share how I almost backed away from something that I knew was for me, how I moved through that fear, and what happened immediately after I said yes. Because trust me, the universe always responds when you step up. And if you've been waiting for a sign to take a leap, I want you to consider that this is it. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the pull and the resistance. The one where you feel the pull, but you also feel resistance. And I had this moment, like I said recently, when I was considering working again with my mentors. And in my process, I pulled a card for guidance. And what did I get? The ending card, the moth and eucalyptus from this particular deck. And my first thought was like, okay, that's a no. That means that this chapter is closed. And honestly, I felt relieved because that meant I didn't have to go all in. I didn't have to make the investment. I didn't have to do the work. I didn't have to get uncomfortable. But then something shifted. As I sat with it and I looked at the card, I realized that the ending wasn't about working with my mentors or not. It was about me. And it was about the version of me that hesitates, the one who doubts, the one who plays it safe. And here's the thing about expansion. It never feels comfortable. It actually feels kind of terrifying because stepping into your next level requires leaving behind everything that made you feel secure before. And so I want you to ask yourself, what's something that you've been pulled towards, but you've not been taking, or rather that you've been talking yourself out of? I want you to consider, like, is it really a no, or is it fear disguising itself as logic? And I understand how confusing this could be, so we will get into that. Now, we also need to talk in this realm of this particular topic, trusting yourself in the leap. Because once I was able to recognize what was actually happening, I had a very distinct choice. I could let fear win, or I could trust myself and take the damn leap. And so I said yes, I committed, and immediately the energy shifted. The second I stepped into alignment, it was like the universe said, like, okay, finally, we've been waiting for you. And then, like, not so uncoincidentally, people started reaching out, telling me they loved what I was sharing. My energy felt magnetic. And I was then being pulled into circles that challenged me in the best ways. And more than anything, I felt at peace with my decision. And this is the thing about trust. You don't build it by sitting around and thinking about it and wishing and hoping. You build it by acting on it. I've said this before, action solves everything. And every time you listen to your gut and say yes, even when it's scary, you collect evidence that you can trust yourself, that your instincts are right. Now, 5 years ago, I didn't have this awareness. I didn't have this strength, and I had to fine tune it. I had worked with like an intuition and embodiment coach who helped me fine tune my self-trust and my intuition. And it was actually something that I shared with somebody that I took through some training this week. And it involves the grocery store. I would go to the grocery store, and my partner can attest to this. Like, I'm very deliberate in how I choose, like, my produce, my apples, my avocados. If it doesn't feel right, I don't pick it. Like I really do spend some time, I'm that girl in the grocery store deliberating over whether this apple or that avocado feels right for me to choose. And so for you, I want you to think back to 3 moments in your life when you trusted yourself and then it led to something great. It's really important that you write them down because I want you to use them as proof for the next time that you hesitate. And now let's talk about devotion, because this is the path to mastery. Trust, especially in yourself, isn't just built in the big moments. It's in these little small ones every single day. Devotion is what keeps us aligned when fear tries to creep back in. And so for me, devotion looks like self-Reiki every morning to start my day in the right energy. It means speaking gratitude to my partner out loud. It's messaging my mom just because. And it's honoring the work I'm creating instead of rushing through it, or showing up for my clients with my whole heart. We can get so caught up in thinking success is about these big leaps and like, I'm only successful if I'm making money. The truth is, though, it's the small, consistent acts of devotion that really shape who we become. And I'd love for you to consider like one small way that you can show devotion to yourself today. I want you to choose it and then commit to it. So here's my next question for you. What's pulling at you right now that you've been resisting? And what would happen if you just said yes? If you stopped hesitating for a minute and stepped fully into what's next for you. And if you're feeling that edge, and I know how itchy and uncomfortable that feels, if you know you're meant for more, but you're struggling to trust yourself, I want to help you move through that. This is what I do. This is what I help my clients with, moving past the resistance, uncovering where the resistance is in the first place too, and then learning to trust themselves, stepping into their power. So it's not just a saying that you hear on Instagram all the time, but truly stepping into the total inherent power that you have with clarity and with confidence. If you're ready to stop second guessing and start living in alignment with your highest self, let's talk. Just message me, reach out, and let's start the conversation. Because I assure you, your next level is waiting for you. You just need to trust yourself enough to take the leap. And so if this episode has resonated in any way, if you felt something shift inside, let me know. Share it, tag me, DM me. I love hearing from you. And if you're ready to move, I'm ready to walk with you. So until next time, breathe it in, be deliberate, and please be good to yourself.